Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
Thank you. Sure glad to be back. And today, folks, if you have a phone now, start calling people. Today we're talking about a very, very, very serious thing. Well, not serious as in serious, but important thing. Something very critical that everybody should know about. You have heard about sickle cell. What is sickle cell? What is happening in Ghana? And what do the patients or people who are growing up with sickle cell need to understand? Who do you call? What do you do? This is perhaps the most important show ever done on sickle cell, man. And I have two people I'm going to talk to, two brilliant people, knowledgeable people, and I'm going to be talking to them. I'm going to be introducing the first one I'm going to introduce. Her name is Mrs. Diana Jumo Badu. She's actually a nurse specialist at Kolebu in the hematology. Show some love. Welcome, Diana. Hey. Welcome to the show. Please. Feel free. Yes. And the next person, trust me, you cannot talk about sickle cell without this man. He's actually the director of the Ghana Sickle Cell Foundation. He's brilliant. He's worked everywhere in this world. I can't name them all now, otherwise we can't begin the show. But he's currently the director of the Sickle Cell Foundation of Ghana. He's also the coordinator. There's a program called the National Screening Program for Newborn Babies for Sickle Cell. He's also the coordinator. It is so important that you listen to this show and hear what they say. Put your hands together for now. Let's show some love for Professor Ohene-Frimpong. Yay! Oh, sorry. That's the Prof. Prof, please have a seat, man.
Thank you very much.
So, folks, listen to me, man. Sickle cell. There are all these myths, all these amazing stories. But today, we're getting to the bottom of it. You know the truth about sickle cell. They are here. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, it's all about sickle cell. Stick around. We'll be right back. Father's Day, the place to be is Cactus Creek. We have a special treat for fathers on Father's Day at Cactus Creek. And the number you can call if you want any information is 055 039 5007.
The KSM Show.
Thank you, and we're back. And I've introduced my panel already, and as I've said, guys, today we're talking about sickle cell, everything that you need to know about sickle cell and more. We'll be back again some other time doing another angle of this show. But today, we are going to do the sickle cell 101 intro. Mrs. Diana Badu Chum. Hey, Jumo Badu. Forgive me, my age now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And if you can just give me 1 minute, I'm not being sexist. I want to talk to this man. Small, because he's my senior. He went to the school, Proper College. Sorry, so long. Senior. But senior, even before, the thing I want to ask you quickly before we start, at one time, this man was running hurdles for Ghana. 110 meters, hurdle champion. Sure. He has a record, man. And the record was down for 26 years before it was beaten.
Yes,
Did you remember those days?
Oh, yes, I remember. Anytime I walk in the morning and my knees are hurting, I remember those days.
Say, Mini, So welcome. I just wanted to throw that in before we start our conversation. Yeah. And next, now I can come back to you.
Sure.
Now that I finished with senior, I have the permission to come back. So you have been with Kolebu and you are with the hematology department? And specifically, is it the sickle cell kits you're in charge of?
So I'm with the Department of Child Health. That's the children.
Oh,
part.
children.
Yes. And the sickle cell clinic at the Department
Part
of Child Health.
Okay.
Yes. And so sickle cell is part of hematology.
Yes. It's a blood disease, right?
Yes.
So sickle cell is a part of hematology.
Yes.
Okay. And so, as a nurse, how long have you been there?
I'm working since 2003, but with sickle cell since 2012. It's almost 11 years down the lane with sickle cell.
Okay. And before I go to Prof, sickle cell, how big of a disease problem is it in the scope of the health issues we're dealing with in Ghana? What role is sickle cell playing?
I will say that by virtue of us being blacks or Africans, and secondly, because we have a lot of malaria here, sickle cell presence in Ghana is big.
It's big, eh?
Because the fact that you're an African, you are black, and you have malaria, a lot of malaria here, you tend to have a lot of sickle cell here. And it's amazing that 2 out of every children born in Ghana, out of 100 children born in Ghana, actually have the sickle cell disease.
2 out of every 100 more?
Yes. So every year, 15,000 children are born here
with
in sickle cell, in Ghana with sickle cell disease.
Okay.
Because what we call the carrier, where people are not showing sickle cell disease, people are just carrier of the abnormal sickle cell. Every 1 in 4 Ghanaian is a carrier. And it can be a male or female. And that is 1 in 4. So if you count about 4 people, 1 is a carrier. So it is really a big issue here. So cast your mind to 15,000 children born every year in your country with sickle cell disease. So it's not a disease that you can underestimate.
Okay. Prof, let me come to you.
Sure.
And break down sickle cell in the simplest form for all of us to understand.
Sure.
She had mentioned the cell of malaria. Is malaria the cause of sickle cell, or sickle cell people are prone to getting malaria?
Okay. So, you know, our body, we inherit genes from our parents. And so everything that our body makes, there are some genes that give instructions on what should be made. So red blood cells contain a chemical that carries oxygen for us. It's called hemoglobin. And there are genes that control how the body makes hemoglobin. We inherit from our father and mother both. The people who have sickle cell conditions make a slightly different form of the regular hemoglobin, which is called A. They make a slightly different form that we call sickle or S hemoglobin. It so happens that if you get that gene from one parent and the normal version from the other, you are making 2 different types of hemoglobin in your red blood cells, or we say you are AS. Children who are AS are not as likely to be killed by malaria as children who have regular blood. They have the A from both parents, or we call them AA. Young children who are AS, it gives them protection against severe malaria or malaria that would kill them. So our part of the world, where malaria has been here for more than 10,000 years, any child who inherited this sickle cell gene from one parent and the normal version is likely to survive childhood, grow to become an adult and have children, some of whom will also be AS. So over many generations, because malaria still kills a lot of young children, the survivors who are AS increase in the population. Occasionally, 2 people who are AS may meet and have children. So one child may have the A from one parent and S from the other, be just like the parents, AS. Another may get S from father and S from mother and become SS. Now, while the AS protects against malaria, the SS is not good. It is the red blood cells that are SS. They break down very easily. They cause many, many problems. So the benefit is the AS. So our part of the world, therefore, there are many people. As Nurse Diana said, almost a quarter of our people carry some gene that has something to do with sickle cell disease, because malaria still kills many children. So it's an advantage to be AS. But if you get the double dose of that gene, then you have a disease.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any way of controlling sickle cell? It's not something you heal or something that you can take medication. and you know, is there any way of controlling sickle cell?
Yes.
Because those who have the SS, and those who are listening to me, those of you who have the SS, who have the crisis and are mostly always sick, in pain, and the worst kinds of conditions, for those SS, is there any way when you're SS, something to do to, is it healable?
Yeah, it is treatable.
Treatable.
It's even curable.
It's curable.
Yes. But most of the world, the cure for sickle cell disease hasn't reached us yet. But we know so much about this disease. We know what causes the pain. We know why young children with sickle cell disease can die so quickly from infections. We understand why they can get a stroke. So we have learned how to manage all the different problems of the disease, even if we are not curing it. But the cure is also there, and we hope that one day in our part of the world, the cures will also reach us. But short of the cure, there is so much we can do for children and grown-ups with this disease. There are medications that lessen their chances of getting the pain. There are pain medications when the pain is worse. There are antibiotics to treat the infections that tend to kill them the most. So there's a lot that can be done. It is a serious disease, but we understand it so well that luckily research and companies have made many medications that help us to manage sickle cell disease.
Yeah.
So whereas in the past, we would lose so many children in the first few years of life, now there are people with sickle cell, even SS, who are late into their 70s. They are working, they're teachers, some are doctors, they are nurses. They're doing many, many things. So it's not a death sentence if you have sickle cell disease, but people need to know whether they carry the gene, and if they happen to have a child with sickle cell disease, they need to know where to go and get the correct treatment. But there's a lot that we can do. Yes.
Let me tell you very quickly, he had mentioned for children who have sickle cell disease, they are prone to strokes.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm learning that even a child can get, how young can a child be to get a stroke when they have sickle cell?
Right. So, like Prof said, once you make that abnormally shaped hemoglobin, instead of it being very soft and very flexible and move easily through your vein, that's the tubes that carry oxygen, your abnormally shaped one now becomes very hard, very stiff, and very sticky. So as they try to go through the very small tubes, then they get blocked. So remember, he had said few people have pains in their joints. That same blockage can occur in the veins or tubes in your brain. And when that happens, then your brain is a very important organ. Your ability to walk, your ability to speak, your ability to learn are all controlled by your brain. So if you have a part of your brain being blocked by these sickle cells, then the function of that part either is lost completely or lost partially. And so your left part of your brain controls the right part of your body and vice versa. So if you have a blockage in the left side of your brain, then you have the weakness on your right. So you see, stroke in sickle cell in children is the same like an adult. So when that happens, then whatever function, so if it is the speech part, then the child may lose the speech entirely or partially. Unfortunately, the earliest time that you are at risk, so if you take every 10 children who have sickle cell disease, especially the SS, which we say are severe disease, 1 in every 10 children, by virtue of having the sickle cell disease, is at risk of developing a stroke.
Wow.
And so once the stroke happens, from as early as 2 to 5 years, that is your highest risk of developing
2
a
to 5
stroke.
years.
Yes. So cast your mind and look at a 2-year-old who has a stroke, who at that age wants to walk and run and chase after a ball, but cannot do that. All the way to about 9 years up to 16 years. And so the stroke has very debilitating effects, not only on that child, but as the family as a whole. So yes, if you have sickle cell disease, the sickle cell disease can result in a stroke
At that
at that
early
age. Yes.
Doc, and I know you are the coordinator. There's a screening program. What's the name of the program again?
It's called the National Newborn Screening Program.
National Newborn Screening Program.
For sickle cell disease,
So
yes.
newborns are you screen all of them? How does that work out?
The idea is to try to screen every baby, certainly in our part of the world, because sickle cell disease is so common. When babies are born with sickle cell disease, they're completely normal. Their blood is baby blood, and there's very little sickle cell in it. But as they go through the first few months of life, the body slows down in making baby blood, and they make grown-up blood. So sickle cell is it's a grown-up blood. So the problems with sickle cell don't develop for a few months after the child is born. But if we are able to detect that this baby who is healthy at 1 month, 2 months of age has sickle cell, we have learned that we can protect them from the infections that kill them by giving them medicine twice a day for at least the first 5 years of life. Ordinary penicillin. That alone can protect them from the most serious infections that kill them. From about a year of age also now, for those with SS and other severe types, there's another medication they can start to take that will also decrease things like the pain and other complications. So screening babies for sickle cell disease is the first step in being able to do something for these children and as they grow. There are parts of the world where all babies are screened. In the United States, which is where this newborn screening for sickle cell started, every baby, white, black, Asian, every baby is screened, because the disease, even though we know it's more common in those of us from Africa, it has spread around the world. And so there's no point in trying to decide, oh, screen this child. They don't do that.
So
France, they're screening most of their babies. Even Germany has decided to screen every baby for sickle cell disease, although there are very few black people there, because once you know them, there's something you can do to help them.
So when you're screening, how young should the baby be?
Well, we try to do within the first few days of life.
First few days?
Yes,
Wow.
before they leave the hospital.
Oh.
That's how the program
And
works.
what do you see to determine this one is sickle?
Everybody is screened. We're taking a few drops of blood from their heel. We collect it with some filter paper, dry it, and send it to our lab. Our lab is at Noguchi. The lab takes that tiny little bit of blood and can analyze it in our machines and tell us whether the child will grow to become AS, AA, or SS, or we see all of that. So from 2 months of age, we start the child on medications before they even get sick.
So to young ones, young mothers, young fathers, parents listening, is there a special hospital that does the screening, or wherever you have your baby?
Well, when we started the program, we designed it as a national program. Initially, we got help from the United States for 15 years to learn how to do this. Government sent us to the Kumasi area. That's where we started. We thought by 2011 we really were ready, so the government established the National Newborn Screening Program. And we developed a plan that in 5 years we should have spread this newborn screen so that every baby, by 2017, every baby in Ghana at birth was supposed to be screened. But government support has dwindled. And so we've gone for several years where we don't even get 1 CD support from government. So instead of increasing the number of babies, recently the numbers have been going down. And we have been depending on small amounts of help from external sources to be able to do a little bit of screening. This is one program that we think that government should support. It's not very expensive. It only costs about 30, 40 cedis to screen a baby. And it saves so many lives. In Africa, in Sub-Saharan, we know that when they are not screened and treated, we lose from 50% to 90% of children born with sickle cell disease.
90%?
Yes, we know that. In US, 98% of them will reach 20 years of age. In UK, 98% of them will reach 20 years of age. Even Jamaica, more than 95% will reach 20 years of age. They are dying here, and we don't even know that the sickle cell that is killing them. They get sick for a few hours, a day or two, they could be gone. But this is some program that we felt at this time government should have really taken a hold of it, so that we can offer it to all of our children born in Ghana, Nigeria. Every country in Africa needs to be doing this. Yes.
Wow. We're talking about sickle cell today. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, let's learn more about sickle cell, some of the myths that are damaging our psyche when it comes to sickle cell, and how do we fight them? And also some interesting thing that has come up called something rare.
The hydroxyurea is medication, yes.
Hydroxyurea. We're going to be talking about it because it's almost like, I don't want to call it a miracle cure, but it's really doing great in terms of this sickle cell crisis. When we come back, more of sickle cell and how we fight sickle cell. We'll be right back. Father's Day, the place to be is Cactus Creek. We have a special treat for fathers on Father's Day at Cactus Creek. And the number you can call if you want any information is 055 039 5007.
The KSM Show.
We're back, and today I told you it's very, very important. We're learning about sickle cell. It's almost a taboo. People don't understand this. From where you sit, being a nurse in hematology, what have you encountered in terms of some of the myths that people say their children have sickle cell? So you do the talking.
So some years ago, people had perceived sickle cell disease as a death sentence.
It's a death sentence.
Maybe those time the knowledge was not a lot. Secondly, the child was not even identified in the first place. So people were having children and they were dying. Nobody knew what was going on. And so they label families like, oh, these people, they have witches there, or whatever is killing the children. It's something that has a spiritual inclination. People believe that others had offended gods, and that is why they've been giving children who are always sick.
Oh, wow.
I think some years ago, we all saw a TV station that filmed a child that was being, sorry to say, hanged over fire because they wanted to burn the disease or smoke the disease out of the child, because that is what the spiritualists taught about. So because the disease affects the child's entire body, it's difficult to understand. That is number one. Number two, how do you convince somebody who has delivered a baby, a bouncing baby, no problem, and you're telling the baby has sickle cell disease? It doesn't make sense to the family. And I've had many mothers tell me, I reject it in Jesus' name.
They reject it?
Yes.
Wow.
Because to them, you are putting something
in the child,
on the baby. They don't think the baby is fine.
So they reject it.
They've rejected it, yes. I've had people come to our consulting room. In their folders, people have written, this very child has not got sickle cell disease. It's been refused in Jesus' name. So you realize that the superstition attached to sickle cell disease is very big. People think, oh, they won't live up to 18 years. I've had children walk to me and say that, oh, I said something to somebody, just like every child will say. And the person tells me that, don't touch this person. She will not live long. So these are all the things and all the bad things that people have told families who have sickle cell disease. So people believe they will die early. People believe because they have big abdomens, they have drums in it, which they are sucking blood into it. People assume that as soon as there's money in the family, this child will fall sick and squander all the money. So there are a lot of myths. People even go ahead and say that, don't spend your time on this child. Don't spend your money on this child. This child will die. Are we God? So these are some of the myths that goes with it. Some think that, oh, these children are given by river gods and they will take them back. So these are all the myths. But the actual thing is that these are diseases that as a result of genetic things, as Prof talked about, there's help. But if you seek the help, you will notice that there are more. These children can live productive life as. But if we stigmatize them, if we put these spiritual inclinations to it, then we deprive them from getting this help that they need to get.
Okay, man. Wonderful. And having said that, may I at this point let the viewers know that I sitting here, I am sickle cell. And I actually go for walks in the morning. Every morning I walk a minimum of 4K. But no, I'm just saying that for you to understand certain things. And we're going to come to that. But Doc, you had talked initially, you had mentioned baby blood,
Yes.
that as you're growing, you're losing the baby blood.
Yes.
Let me tell you what happened when I went to the US. When I told them I had sickle cell, the doctor says, no, I have to test it for myself to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he came up with the test, he said he was very shocked to find out that I had a very high content of fetal blood,
Yes.
even at my old age.
Yes.
And he was saying that it is that fetal blood that perhaps is helping me fight crisis and things like that.
Absolutely.
So can you explain a little bit about this fetal blood? And
Yes, it's a very interesting thing. You know, my father used to dabble in some traditional medicine, and we would go to the bush and, you know, some leaves, everything is green, and he'll be pulling some leaves. And I used to ask him, how do you know which one is medicine and which one is not? And he used to say that, you know, the way they teach us when we are growing up is that your solutions to your problems are never too far away from you. You have to just look carefully. Everybody born in the world is born with baby blood, fetal hemoglobin, HbF. I told you that when a baby is born with sickle cell disease, he's not sick because 60 to 90% of the baby's blood is fetal blood. The little bit of sickle cell blood that's in there is not making the baby sick. As the baby is growing, the fetal blood is going down. By 1 year, this 60 to 90% is now normally around about 2 or 3%. So if you have sickle cell disease, now the baby blood is gone and now you have this S hemoglobin, you're getting sick. It so happens that if you hold on to the fetal blood, it stops the sickle cell blood from making you sick, from making the cells become sickle cells. So we have known this for more than 60 years. But the body knows how to make fetal blood. But naturally, you're supposed to switch it off and make adult blood. But if sickle cell people can hold on and make more fetal blood, they do better. So we have been searching for ways to do that. And this medicine called hydroxyurea, it's an old medicine. But about 25, 28 years ago, we found from research that it makes the blood cells make more baby blood, fetal blood. Yes. That's why we use it, because it increases the fetal hemoglobin in the red cell, and then the red cell doesn't become sickle cell easily. It's a medicine you take by mouth once a day. It's a strong medicine, so we have to monitor it. But that medicine, as old as it is, has changed the lives of many people in sickle cell around the world. We are just completely lucky that an old medicine was discovered to do this. Yes. So this hydroxyurea now is recommended for everybody with SS, the severe type of the disease. Even a few with SC, that is not as severe as SS, they can also take that medicine. And we have to train them, the doctors and nurses, how to give it properly, how to monitor it. And so we have a program in Ghana now where we are using this medication, and it's helping many of our patients.
Tell us more about the program.
Sure.
For those of you listening at home whose kids, unfortunately, are going through the SS, the severe kind of sickle cell, and even SC in some cases. How do they get hydroxyurea? You know, you're talking about.
So, you know, we started using hydroxyurea in sickle cell disease around the world, maybe about around 1986, 87. The U.S. first licensed it for sickle cell disease in 1995. So now many places in the world are using it. But even though it's not super expensive, many of our families in Ghana couldn't afford it. So we started using it here maybe 12, 15 years ago, but very few people could afford it. A couple of years ago, we were a bit fortunate that a drug company, the largest drug company in the world called Novartis, decided to come and give us some help in our sickle cell disease work. So in early 2019, they signed an agreement with Ghana government to try to support some of the work that we're doing. And one of the major things that they're doing to help us is that they decided to make this hydroxyurea medicine for sickle cell disease starting in Ghana. They were not making it before. So since 2018, Novartis has been making this medicine. And because still our families couldn't afford even the reduced price, about a year ago they decided to give us a large supply to make it available to many more of our patients. So now we have trained 11 sickle cell treatment centers. They have been using this medicine. We have more than 2,600 patients now taking this medicine every day. And Diana can tell you she's a queen of this treatment at Kolebu for the children. And it's doing wonders. We just wish that more people, because there are many more thousands of people with sickle cell disease in the country. So we are expanding it. But the medicine cannot be free for us. So we are actually pleading with government to make sure that this medicine, National Health Insurance Authority, would cover this medicine for the people with sickle cell disease in the country. It saves the country money because they're not getting sick as often. It saves their family money. And more importantly, it makes them feel better. Even children as young as 1 year can start taking this medicine. And some of them have grown up. I met a young man who's now about 22. He's Sierra Leonean. I met him at Moving Pick. The family were passing through, and they called me to come and see him. Well, I last saw him, was like 9 years old. They moved from Philadelphia to Atlanta. So he shook my hand. He said, Dr. Frimpong, you used to be my doctor when I had sickle cell disease.
When I had.
Yes. Because he has been taking this medicine. He has truly forgotten what sickle cell disease is. Yes. Yes.
And I know it's the best time to come back to you. So you are administering it for kids. Tell me some of the, what do you call these things, testimonies that you are getting from sickle cell.
So we have close to 1,000 children in our clinic on this medication. So we started using it somewhere around 2011, 2012. And our first girl that we started almost died from one big complication called acute chest syndrome. And we tried it in her. She is now 10 years after taking the medicine. She's never been admitted. She's never required a blood transfusion. If you see that girl, even though she's just 14 years, she looks like a 20-year-old.
Wow.
And the father is a big ambassador for Hydroxyurea because he could picture himself where that child, if he had lost that girl at that time. And so we have a lot and lots of mothers who are now ambassadors. So they are actually telling others that, you know something, there's a medication that has held my child. Go forward. Go and talk to your clinician. Go and talk to the people in your clinic and let them advise you. Let them put your child on. And I use more of these people to talk to other mothers because they have seen. And they are so happy. If you see the children in clinic, they are happy. They've gone to school throughout. I have patients who are in the universities. I had a patient that repeated class 6 for 4 years because she couldn't write exams. And this mother traveled 5 hours just to get to Kolebu. And this girl is in SS1 now. No pain, no admission, and she's going to SS1. So this is how it is. It works. But like Prof said, you need to go to a place where the people there are vested in the medication. We know how to treat you with it, know how to monitor it, be able to identify when it is causing problems. And then you can get the benefit out of it. And it will make me so sad that all these patients that we've been able to get this benefit because of financial constraints, somebody will walk to me and said, I cannot continue to enjoy this relatively normal life because I can't afford the medicine. So if the government of Ghana will not do anything for sickle cell, they should help support to keep these children who we have managed to save them from dying from one complication, to continue to enjoy this relatively normal, painful, pain-free life.
Wow.
And that is what Hydroxyurea has come to offer to people with sickle cell disease.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And we're going to talk more. But even at this point, I think it's a good time to even talk about there's a thing coming next week. Is it next week, Friday or Saturday?
Yes.
A talk, some
World Sickle Cell Day.
Yeah.
In 2008, an effort that was led by Madame Antoinette Nguesso, Republic of Congo First Lady.
Yeah.
She has been a big supporter for sickle cell disease work in Africa, and she and a few colleagues appealed to the United Nations to pay attention to sickle cell disease in the world. It's been a neglected disease because it affects mostly people of African origin. And so United Nations decided to declare a date, a particular date, as World Sickle Cell Day. So they picked June 19th as World Sickle Cell Day. So the first commemoration was 2009.
Okay.
So since then, every year, all around the world, we are doing things to bring awareness to sickle cell disease. And in Ghana, the Sickle Cell Foundation, from 3 years ago, now organizes a World Sickle Cell Day lecture. We bring some experts to teach about sickle cell disease. So this year, World Sickle Cell Day, June 19th, falls on a Saturday. So the 18th.
It's a week from tomorrow, guys.
Yes. So
Well,
on the Saturday, we'll do a webinar. It will be online.
Okay, online.
Yeah, so people can be at home
Okay.
and can actually tune in
Fantastic.
and listen to all the discussions. And we have made treatment with hydroxyurea the theme for this year, because all the help that we are getting from Novartis with this medicine, by the end of August, that's the end of it. Government needs to help us by stepping in. So we've made this the theme to make a strong appeal for our families, for our doctors and nurses who are using this medicine, to also appeal to government to please. You know, in 2020, the finance minister's budget statement, he mentioned that they have made hydroxyurea available for people with sickle cell disease in Ghana. In the MPP manifesto for last year's presidential elections, they mentioned that they've made hydroxyurea available for people with sickle cell disease in Ghana with the help of this Novartis. And so we just want them to continue to give that help, because it won't be long before the big help that we receive from the drug company will be ending. But it will be tragic, as Diana said, for people who are thriving on this medicine to all of a sudden, if you don't take this medicine for 2 months, you are back to sickle cell, full-blown, just like you were, as if you never took it. Because our body is making new blood cells every day. And if the blood cells don't see this medicine, they become sickle cells. So it's medicine, you have to keep taking it.
Program, it's a
you have to stay with it. Yes.
Continuously.
Yes, it's not a cure. You have to keep taking it, because as your blood is being made, you want to treat it with this medicine so you can make more of the baby hemoglobin inside those red blood cells. Then they don't become sickle cells easily.
Let me ask this for the benefit of people like me who are lucky enough to have still a high content of fetal blood.
Yes.
How long does it stay?
Well, you know, normally, if you didn't have sickle cell problem, by 1 year of age, you only make about 1% or less of your blood as fetal blood. We know that in sickle cell disease, if you make 3%, you are better off than somebody who makes 1%. If you make 10%, you are better off than anybody who makes 5%. So the more you can make, the better your red blood cells are. So if you have grown up and you are still making baby hemoglobin, there's nothing wrong with grown-ups making baby hemoglobin. It's completely normal. You are lucky to have that. So for some, we have to help them with this medication to do that.
So the medication is now doing that.
It's now doing that.
It's giving you the impact of making baby
hemoglobin. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Can people, I'm sure there are so many people who will be calling me after the case. We didn't ask them, where do we call them? Who do we go to? Where are their offices?
Yes.
So if you can give some more information.
Wherever they are, if they are near a sickle cell center, they need to talk to the doctors and ask them about this hydroxyurea. Because when we started the program, we were sort of training doctors and nurses, the experts like Diana, they are teaching other nurses, what to do. So we started with 11 sickle cell treatment centers. We are adding 12 more. But we hope that by next year, we'll be moving from the major centers to even private clinics, and then eventually to be able to get individual doctors who may have maybe 5 or 6 people with sickle cell disease in their clinic. We want to help them do it. To make it easy, we worked with Novartis and a company that has actually made a phone app that teaches the doctors and nurses how to use this medicine. So if you go do your blood tests for monitoring, and the doctor puts it in the machine, he can tell them how much of the medicine the person should receive. So even if you are not a hematology nurse or hematology doctor, we are guiding you on how to use this medicine. What we hope is that in another year or two, this medicine will reach many, many people with sickle cell disease, whether they live in a rural area or whether they live in Accra, because all of them can benefit from it. So we are trying to make the training for the doctors and nurses using the app such that you can reach them wherever they are so the patients can benefit from it. Wow. But we need government support to be able to grow this.
We can't overemphasize that, you know, and I'm hoping that NHIS
NHIS.
Yes. Put this as a required thing, because what will be sad really is after all this length of time having groomed people to depend on it, and then all of a sudden
then withdraw it.
We're out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be hard for us.
Yeah.
That would be very difficult for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I want to do another program. But I want you bring, you know, people like me in our 60s and things to come and show people that this is not a death sentence if you know how to
there
manage
are many
it well.
In their 60s and 70s. They've led full lives. Some of them are retired, and they can tell you their own stories. For people, especially young mothers and fathers, you know, now you have a 1-year-old, you've heard that this disease is hopeless. So when you hear somebody who says, I'm a retired teacher, I taught for 45 years, I did this, then you look at her and say, oh, me too, my daughter can get to be that way. And then there's more treatment coming.
Fantastic.
Yes, so the future, it looks much brighter for them. Yes.
Your parting words, Nana.
So what I want to tell everybody is that, one, if you are in the fertile age, know your status. Like I said, there are 1 in every 4 who are carriers. If you are a carrier, you don't have sickle cell disease. What it means is that if you meet another carrier, then you can have. And the only way to know is to test. So we have a slogan, know my name, know your status. So if you see a beautiful lady, you see a handsome gentleman that you like, after asking their name, learn to know their status.
Know their status.
Number 2, if your child or anybody has been diagnosed with sickle cell disease, don't hide the child. Seek for treatment. That child can be helped to live a fulfilled life. Sickle cell should not be a barrier to people achieving what they want to become. There is help. Just look for it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. My last question.
Yes.
And this is going to Doc. These young guys, you know, they met each other, they are low. And then they go and find out that the lady, let's say the lady is AS, the man is SS. So chances are that they can produce an SS.
Yes.
Do you advise them, don't even try, because you're going to pass your children, or what do they do in that stage?
In modern world, we are supposed to explain to them what their chances are for having a child with the disease, and then tell them about some options that there may be. People may be surprised to hear that even in Ghana now, at Lister Hospital, it is possible to take people who are AS and AS, a man and a woman, and actually do the thing we call in vitro fertilization. For them to actually take an egg from the mother and take sperm from the father, fertilize them in their lab, and then pick the embryos that are AS or AA and put them in the mother. So there are ways. So we will tell you about the options. Our friends in Nigeria for almost 18 years have used another method. We sent some mothers from Ghana to have that test done. So there are things, but if you know your status, then you can get some advice. But for us, as health workers and experts, we cannot tell you how to run your life. So maybe your church can tell you that they won't marry you.
But that's not your business.
That's not our business. Our business is to explain to you, and then you make your own decisions. Yes. Okay. And whatever the outcome, for us, it's the right outcome. Okay. If we have to take care of a child born from that marriage, fine. That's the child's blessing. We will take care of that child.
All right.
Yes.
Put your hands together, man. And trust me, we haven't had enough of this. We have to educate ourselves. As you heard, the stigma. People don't even say their child has sickle cell. It's like a disease. It's like a taboo. It's like forbidden. It's not like that. It is not a death sentence. So, Doc, I'm going to call on you guys two more times. You know, this platform is officially being given to Sickle Cell Foundation.
Thank you very much.
Any announcement, anything you need us to put on this platform is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
too.
much.
So, folks, until next week, when we come back with some more exciting things, keep in mind, is there a number they can call or the place they can reach?
They can try to reach us. I will give a number if they can, write it down. 024 470 5631. If they can write, if it's some current to show it. Or later on, we'll send you. Okay.
So they'll see it on the screen.
Yes.
So
okay.
there's your number, and feel free to call and then get all the help you want regarding sickle cell.
Before we end, I need to thank you. I told you that is your father who made me go to Prempeh College.
Oh, my father did?
Yes. So everything that I have been able to do, I owe it to him.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Just a lot for my father, man.
Yes.
And on that note, folks, we'll see you again next week. So in the meantime, all I can say is that we are out of. Let all the crewers. Yeah.
The KSM Show.